that's right. Make sure you tune into the hottest internet radio station on the planet. REPNVA.com. Each and every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. with your host, Kizzy, bringing you all the celebrity gossip, news, local news, entertainment news, and much, much more. Right. Did I forget to mention that REPNVA.com is the official internet radio station that's really repping for all of Virginia artists, rappers, singers, actors, authors, all aspects of the entertainment industry. REPNVA is the station you want to keep your ear to. Yeah, that's right. If you or anyone you know are interested in being a guest or getting an interview on REPNVA Internet Radio, make sure you contact Miss REPNVA at info@REPNVA.com. That's INFO at REPNVA.com. Y'all got that?
Welcome back to REPNVA iRadio. I'm about to go into my interview with Jarrard Anthony.
Word.
Alright, my first question for you is, at what age did you realize you had a musical gift?
Did I realize that I had a musical gift? I guess really when I was probably about 10 or 11, that's when I guess it became apparent to me. You know, around that time there was a lot of like young groups, like Another Bad Creation was out, and I remember they had a song called Aisha. And you know, I used to go around singing that, and I remember singing it one day. It was after church actually, to some girls outside, and you know, I sang a little piece of the song, and I was like, yeah, I know I don't sound like them, and the girl was like, no, you sound better than them. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this then. I think it was around that age, like maybe like 9, 10 years old. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and see what can happen maybe.
Okay. Did anybody inspire you to get into music before then? I know you said that what made you start actually taking it serious, but did anybody else inspire you, like a family member?
Actually, I don't. Well, when a family member, I guess my family, we play music in the house continuously. So I mean, we talked about this before. Like when I was young, 3 years old, I was listening to Chuck Berry. And I'm emulating that, and Michael Jackson, of course. So I always, was interested in performing and just getting attention, from a young age. But when I realized that I, had something to contribute was a little bit later.
Okay. So when you was younger, people actually, when they thought of Jarrard Anthony, they thought of the 3-year-old who was impersonating Chuck Berry, right?
Well, people thought, of Clara's son. If we go over Clara's house, her son is going to do the Chuck Berry dance for you, and probably some Michael Jackson stuff too, because that's what I did, So that's really what people anticipated. I don't know if they looked forward to it or not when they came over, but I know if it was people around, I would definitely do it.
There's some people in the studio, you want to do some, Michael Jackson.
No.
You didn't bring out of that thing?
I was 3.
Alright, so not only are you a singer, but you also produce music. You play the guitar, and you also play the keyboard. How did you get into instruments as well?
Actually, the keyboard, around the time that I really, started to explore, my voice, I had gotten a keyboard and started to kind of tinker with it. When I got into my early teens is when I got more serious with actual songwriting. From that standpoint, and from that point, I basically just essentially just kind of taught myself to play what I wanted to hear. As far as keys, like I would never say that I am an impresario as far as keyboards go, but to write music, I'm very comfortable with getting my ideas out. Later on, as I became an adult, really, I picked up guitar because it was just much easier to carry around than a keyboard, if nothing else. And it's also a very intimate instrument. You hold it close, you stroke it. You really get to know that instrument very well when you play it. And it's actually become my primary, even more so than keys at this time.
Okay, so you actually taught yourself how to play the instrument. You didn't take no classes? Wow. So how was the process like with you teaching yourself? Did you YouTube, or did you just
I still YouTube, you know, things to learn. I mean, that's basically, you know, how I learned, like just, you know, watching and absorbing. You know, I had a couple DVDs, you know, that I started to kind of learn. I started just doing exercises that I read here and there, bought a couple books, and, you know, I would just sit and just hold a guitar and, you know, just kind of go through the different chords until I started to feel comfortable. I went through the process. Everybody who's starting on guitar, I'll tell you, you know, it's not a comfortable instrument to start playing or really continue playing, because your fingers start hurting and they get calluses. They might bleed and peel a little bit, you know. But if you continue through it, eventually, you know, it starts to, you know, feel pretty good.
Okay. You retired from the music scene back in 2009 to focus on marriage, your religion belief, and also family. What made you come back now?
You know, when I decided that I was no longer going to, you know, record music or release music from an artist standpoint, I mean, you know, music is still something that I had passion for. You know, I host a monthly event here in Virginia where I bring through different artists, so I still was involved in that capacity, but I wasn't really thinking about continuing on as far as, you know, promoting my own, you know, works. I had a conversation, you know, at the end of last year with a gentleman who was a friend of mine, because I had a lot of relationships that I built up over the years. A gentleman by the name of George Littlejohn, who is the co-CEO of a company called Purpose Music Group. Purpose Music Group is a record label that specializes in soul music. Anthony David is there, Eric Roberson is there, Kendrick the Family Soul is there, Bilal is there. I had a conversation with him. They distribute through E1, which is a very large independent music distribution company, the largest on the planet, actually. And in that conversation, I was talking to George about doing a project, working on a project that I was doing, and I wanted Kendrick the Family Soul to be involved in that. And I also mentioned some of the artists that I knew that I had maybe brought through my event, or some artists I knew in the Richmond area who I wanted to be, who I wanted him to maybe consider, you know, for his own company, and say, hey, here's some people you should look at. In that conversation, he said to me, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm not doing anything, you know. And he said, well, do you plan on it? I was like, not really, you know. He's like, well, you know, if you plan on doing a record, or if you decide you want to do a record, you know, I know you have a company, we'd definitely be interested in distributing it and putting it out. And I was like, okay, well, let me think about that, you know. And I did, and I called a good friend of mine, you know, Nate Smith, you know, who's a very accomplished producer and musician who had worked on my previous projects. And I called Nate and I said, hey, you know, I got a call from George Littlejohn about possibly doing a record. How do you feel about it? If you don't produce a record, I won't do it. He's like, well, I'm down to do it. We need to do it. And Ready to Live was born at that point.
Wow.
Yes.
So, are you actually signed to anybody?
I actually am signed to my own label. My label is called JP Music and Entertainment Group. So my label actually has distribution through NIA Music, which is Purpose Music Group's distribution company, and we're distributed nationally through E1 Entertainment One, formerly Koch Records. Yes.
Okay. Is there a difference between your music back then when you first started and your music now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that, you know, as an artist, you know, we always, you know, stay true to the familiarities of who we are, but continuously with each project, there's always going to be growth and evolution, because I'm at different stages in life. You know, the difference with, you know, Ready to Live, the current record, and my other projects is I always approach the project with the intent of, this is a project I'm going to record. With Ready to Live, I had no intentions of actually putting out a project, so essentially it's songs that I had written that actually fit together to tell the story of a, you know, 3.5-year period in my life where there was a lot of transition happening, and, you know, a lot of just personal growth. So it was the process is different. I mean, there's always familiar aspects to the creative manifestation, meaning, like, you know my voice, you know, and I have a writing style, you know, but the content is definitely always evolving.
Okay. During that 3 time that you wasn't actually putting music out there, was you still writing?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's, I mean, when I had that conversation with George about the record, I mean, I knew I had songs that were ready, you know, or at least, you know, had been concepted. It was just a matter of, you know, really bringing those to fruition. So I mean, I'm always writing. I mean, when you're a writer, when you're an artist, I mean, that's what you do. You know, whether you putting out music or not. You know, I wasn't like when I was writing songs, I wasn't just writing them with the intention of putting it out, because I was writing because that's how I express myself. You know, I express myself playing music. You know, I don't write speeches. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not an orator. You know, I write songs. You know, so I was always writing.
All right, what motivates you to write?
Life. You know, life experiences, conversations that I have, random thoughts. You know, could be a little bit of anything.
Okay. Is there a message you're trying to tell through your music?
I mean, you know, the message at this stage of my life is, you know, embrace where you are, embrace who you are where you are. You know, Ready to Live is about, you know, seeing, you know, the best aspects of your life and moving forward in that, you know, and don't get caught up in, you know, the petty, you know, externals. You know what I mean? Happiness is a daily decision. It's your decision. You know, so just choose happiness and choose joy. You know, that's basically what it's all about. Be the best you can be, and, you know, just be happy in that.
Okay. We're about to play one of your songs. Would you like to introduce that song for us?
What song are we playing?
Lucky Day.
Lucky Day. Okay, definitely. Lucky Day. First, I want to say, you know, just thank you for having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. Yes, so Lucky Day, which is the first single from Ready to Live. We just debuted the video on singersroom.com earlier this week. Got over 5,000 views on one day, which was incredible. Now it's up on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and check it out. Jarrard Anthony, Lucky Day. Here it is. Check it out. Manifest the lessons of powerful.
On my side today, feels like I'm gonna do something new, manifesting lessons and power moves. Negative people stay away. No, just wanna get back simply what it gives, and I'm focused on my positive and the sun will shine, 'cause now's my time, enjoying life, and I'm alright. Look to the sky and dream away. It's just the start of lucky day. Feels like lucky day. Just fade away. Today's my lucky day. Today's my lucky day.
Welcome back to REPNVA iRadio. That was Jarrard Anthony, Lucky Day.
Yes, yes.
How y'all feel about that song?
Love it.
I love it.
It's very soulful. I really like it.
I like it
It's
too.
really nice.
Well, you recently released the video for Lucky Day. What was the concept behind the video?
The concept behind the video is, a man who is, living life in the fast lane, essentially gets, a wake-up call of sorts, and finds himself in a place he's never been before, amongst people he's never known, and those people, a woman in particular, takes him in, nurses him back to health, and embrace him and show him his true form.
Okay.
That's the concept of the video. Big shout out to Olawale Ogbonlowo, who directed the video for Lucky Day. Just very talented, young filmmaker, up and coming.
Okay. In the video, it was one scene that caught my attention, and that was when you get this phone call, and you automatically leave. I guess you walk out the building.
Right.
You go outside, and you are confronted by this man.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, you get punched in the face by another man on the other side.
Yeah, they sniped me.
Did he actually hit you in the video? Or was that staged to look like it hit you? How did he hit you?
I do all my own stunts, we acted,
I know you mentioned, we were talking about this during the break, that when they, I guess, kicked you when you fell to the ground, you actually got hit.
Yeah, like my man DJ Saeed, who is one of the cats, that came down on me. He was wearing some Timbs that night, and he just came down a little bit. I think he put his weight behind it. I don't know if you into it. He is like 260, so he put that. It's like, we caught the rib. We had to do that like multiple takes.
Wow.
So no, it was cool. We had a great time, and I love those guys for real. No
Okay.
joke. Big shout to Saeed and Sunyata.
Alright. Let's talk about your album, Ready to Live. What made you name it Ready to Live?
The reason it's called Ready to Live is really because that's the energy, that I wanted to put out. One thing that I always say, is you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when I, was thinking about titles for the record, I thought about, albums and artists that, I've looked at and admired and appreciated over the years, and how art has imitated life. One of the big albums that really came to mind was Biggie's Ready to Die. He came out with Ready to Die, and within 3 years of that album coming out, we all know what happened. Another group that really influenced me, when I was young, was Jodeci. And when I say when I was young, I mean when I was like a teenager, yeah, I'm still young, But, like Jodeci, they had, Forever My Lady, cool. Then they had Diary of a Madman. After that,
They was a mad band.
They was a mad band. They basically went mad, Devontae up in the subway, wilding out, So, it was those types of things that I said, what type of legacy, do I want to be left by this album? What kind of energy do I want to be manifested, and while I'm promoting it and putting it out, for people to hear. I'm not ready to die, I'm ready to live, It's ready to live, it's ready to embrace, it's ready to say, I'm here, enjoy, and all of us can enjoy, So that was, the inspiration behind the title.
Okay. Do you have any features on the album you can tell us about?
Yeah, quite a few features. Lucky Day, which we just played here, that features Onaji Allen Gums, who is an incredible, very accomplished jazz keyboardist. Also have Lonnie Liston Smith, who is another incredible jazz legend who, if you don't know his name, I guarantee you know his song because he's been sampled by everybody, like Mary J. Blige, the new Young Jeezy song is his song, Garden of Peace. He's from Richmond, Virginia, Richmond native. He's on the album. Amir Amin, who's also my wife, but she's an incredible artist, all her own. She's on the record featured. We have a few really dope MCs who are on the come up. One, Mike L. From New York, PM, who is actually from Richmond but resides in New York now. My man Darian Dean, who is an incredible R&B singer. He was the last year he won the Budweiser Battle for the Crown, the national competition, and he won the Black Planet Soul Beach competition as well in the same year. And he's doing his thing. He has a great project out. Eric Roberson is on the album, who is undisputed king of indie soul, you know, multiple Grammy nominee. John Bibbs, another Richmond native, he's on the record, who has an incredible project out right now. Wild Man, dope artist from St. Louis. Who else? It's Monet, who is an incredible flutist and vocalist. Amma Watt, who's another incredible vocalist, from New York. Jeremy Mose, who's a dope producer and musician on the record.
You remember all those people.
Yeah, Javier Diaz, who's a percussionist, world-renowned, world traveler. I mean, because these are just like really stellar musicians. Like these people are accomplished, travel, like have been doing this for years and years. Nate Smith, who produced the entire record, incredible musician and producer, produced for Michael Jackson, worked with Teddy Riley, Monifa. He's worked with a little bit of everybody. Played with Dave Holland, who is an incredible jazz musician, for a number of years. So yeah, I mean, an all-star cast, really on the record. Everybody. I mean, if I'm not naming anybody right this second, they hear it, charge it to my head, not to my heart. But I appreciate everybody's. See, that's VA. That's Virginia. I appreciate everybody.
All right. Aside from music, what else do you cherish in your life?
My family. Absolutely. My wife and my babies. That's what I cherish. I mean, that's number one. Music is like over on the side. That is what it is.
Okay. Having already accomplished so much in your music career, what's next for Jarrard Anthony?
The next thing for Jarrard Anthony is just to, one, continue to, make music that I feel is, nourishing, for the soul, for my soul and hopefully for others. Also to just expand my company, Jap Meg, as I said, my company is a label. We're a full service record label. We offer distribution for independent artists. We do marketing, we do events. We do a lot of different things. We do artist consulting as well, for artists who are really looking to find their way to kind of start some things up. We're developing some other programs for young people who want to get into the music business. So expansion of the company, I mean, that's what the future is really going to be bringing.
Okay. When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be, a father who, whose children, were proud, and whose grandchildren were proud, whose great-grandchildren were proud.
Okay.
An esteemed elder and ancestor is what I aspire to be.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Do you plan on touring to promote Ready to Live?
Yeah, we're actually in the process of, touring right now. We're starting to kind of rev the calendar up. But this upcoming Wednesday, I'll be out in St. Louis, at a spot out there called Lola. I'll be actually in Alexandria on the 30th with Kenny Lattimore, opening up that show. I'll be in Indianapolis on the 31st. I'll be in Chicago on September 2nd. I'll be back here in Richmond on September 6th. Then I'll be, there'll be some other things in September that are kind of pending. October and November, I'll be up in New York as well. So yeah,
You have a pretty busy schedule.
We're filling up pretty fast.
Yeah.
The feedback from the record has been like really phenomenal, like far more than what I've anticipated. And people are responding really well. People are responding really well to the video. The record is doing, very well as far as people going out and supporting it from the stores and, downloading it and that kind of thing. So, the future definitely, looks good, and I appreciate everybody's support.
Okay. How can people get in contact with you to book you for shows and also to purchase your music?
All of my contact information is actually right on my website. So if you go to JarrardAnthony.com, JarrardAnthony.com, it will be right there. I mean, you got the contacts, you got the Twitter, the Facebook, Blogger, Tumblr, whatever other social media app is around. All of them right there. You can hit me up on Twitter as well. It's Jarrard Anthony _ JarrardAnthony _ I'm always on Twitter because it's on my phone. I just can't seem to stay away. I am
Sound like me.
And for booking, I mean, like I said, that information is going to be there. You can also, just send a booking request to info@JapMeg, info@japmeg.com. My company website is japmeg.com, japmeg.com as well. Yeah, so lots of contact information is out there. I'm very, very easy to get in contact with. And
okay.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I heard you was going to sing one of my favorite songs that I love, Damn Sister.
Oh, really?
Are you ready to sing for me?
You heard that? I did bring the guitar. So
yeah, I heard that.
Let's see what we got here.
First, before you get started, can you introduce the song for us, what you're about to sing?
This is the song that really, after, 2 release projects, this is a song that kind of started, I'll say, my journey into the evolution of who I am now. Oddly enough, because of the song I wrote when I was, single guy. I was living in Chicago at the time. I was on my way to the grocery store. And on the way to the grocery store, it was a summer day, much like what we have outside. And I was just inspired. And when I came back from the grocery store, I picked up my guitar. And I was like, man, I'm going to write a song. And I started to just, hear these chords. It was like this, right? Oh. Yeah. It was like, I can't help but stare. Never seen a woman that quite compares. Blessing what you manifest. Said your curves are crazy, so amazing. I try to ignore it. Put my head down and keep walking forward. Don't wanna objectify, but my face got so tight when you walk by. Like, damn sister, you make me wanna sing it loud. Damn sister, and I'm a fan sister, rooting for you from the crowd. You's a bad sister, damn sister, make me wanna scream and shout. Damn sister, and I'm a fan sister, rooting for you from the crowd. I swear, the dress was tailor-made, fit so perfect around your frame. Had to call my boy back home and send a little message from my camera phone. I wonder if you're looking for a good man. Better yet, how about a guy, man? I really like to get to know you. Maybe there's a thing or two I can show you. Like, damn sister, you make me wanna say it loud. Damn sister, my fan sister, rooting for you from the crowd. Bad sister, damn sister, make me wanna scream and sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. From the crowd, check it. Maybe you and me could be friends. Maybe we could meet again. A little distracted right now, cause your hips and thighs got me wildin' out. Wanna know your past physical attraction. I know there's more to this than chemical reaction. But hold up, let me keep on moving, cause the girl across the street looks better than you. And I'm like, damn sister, make me wanna say it louder. Damn sister, I'm a bad sister, rooting for you from the crowd. Bad sister, yeah, damn sister, make me want to scream and sha-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. From the crowd. Damn sister. There she go, looking good. Rooting for you from the crowd. Girl, you got them gals. When you're walking by, can't help that a tear comes to my eye. Makes me wanna, way down deep inside. La 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 la, yeah. Damn, sister.
Wow.
Damn, I can picture that sister right there.
You have an amazing voice. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Wow. And what did you say inspired you to write that song?
Yeah, I mean, a trip to the grocery store, a simple trip to the grocery store. It's like you just never know what the day is gonna bring. You know, you just never know what the day is gonna bring.
All right, we're about to go into some more music with Bam Bam the DJ, and when we come back.
You know what I'm talking about?
Make you want to have a damn something, right?
You know what I'm talking about? It's like, you know, every man knows exactly that feeling.
Yes.
That feeling, man. You see your sister and you're like, dang.
Alright. Well, we're about to go into some more music with Bam Bam the DJ, and when we come back, we're going to go into the Industry 101, and then we're going to go into the What's on Your Mind.